Hi, I'm Rebecca Brand, and today's recipe is an herb-crusted macaroni and cheese. This recipe follows a 500,000 view favorite called creamy chicken pasta because it makes use of mozzarella and basil in such a way that it mocks a Parmesan cheese. This is an incredibly inexpensive recipe to make for your family. Let me show you what's in it. The ingredients for this dish are some pasta. I'm using elbow macaroni. You'll need mozzarella cheese, butter, heavy whipping cream, fresh basil, breadcrumbs, and optional on this recipe is Parmesan cheese, salt and pepper, and I have an amazing Gourmet Today herbalizer that's going to keep all that extra basil fresh so it's not going to go to waste after I make this recipe. When I make a pasta, the first thing I do is to get a pot of water to boil because that always slows me down. So I've added a little olive oil and then maybe a teaspoon of salt because I like it pre-seasoned. It adds more flavor that way. I'm adding 1 pound of the pasta to that water. I stir it around and that's going to take exactly 11 minutes to cook. Trust me. So I always hit my timer on for 11 minutes. That way I don't get distracted and mess it up. I give one more quick stir because I believe in a little personal space for each of those little macaronis at that dance party. I always like to wash my herbs because I want to make sure there's no pesticide and no bugs or dirt in what I'm going to cook in my dish. And give it a little shake to drain it. We need to chop up 1 cup of basil. You need to pick off the leaves of that basil. I don't like stems in this dish. For a quick chop, just slice it through. You can roll them and make little thin cuts, but I never have time to do all that tedious work. I'm a rough chopper when it comes to my herbs. So there's my 1 cup of basil. When I bought this basil at the store, I got a very large quantity, which is exciting because I can make more recipes this week with that. Gourmet Today sent me this herbalizer. It's a fresh herb keeper. And now I can keep my herbs for a long time, up to 2 weeks, fresh. So I poured water to the max line, which is indicated in the beautiful glass carafe container it's in. And then I grab a handful and I put the stems down in the bottom. This herb keeper is going to keep all these herbs fresh for me. That has been such a challenge. My herbs always go moldy or brown or wilty, and they just don't look good. Having fresh herbs is a joy, but it's really expensive if they don't last long. And then you place them in your keeper. This ladder feature is so cool because I hang that out and then I grab some more. You know what? I want some for garnish on the top of my dish, so I'm going to grab a little more out there. But I love this thing. Now I'm storing the basil in my fridge for further reference. This recipe makes enough for your entire family. Look at all that pasta. Yummy. That's going to be great. I stir it up in my strainer because I want to make sure all that extra water in those big tubes will go down my sink. Because I want it more on the dry side because that's going to make it soak up more of my beautiful cream and the cheese sauce I'm going to make next. Add 1 stick of butter and I kind of pull the macaroni apart. I had made a little well for that stick of butter to go to the bottom of that pot because I'm in a hurry. I want that to melt first. Now I'm adding 4 cups, which is 1 pound of that shredded mozzarella cheese. Stir that around. You want that to get a little head start on melting before the next step. That butter only took 20 seconds at the bottom of that pan to melt. And after another 20 seconds, you see the sticking action of that mozzarella cheese with all that pasta. So now it's time we pour 2 cups of heavy whipping cream into the recipe. Slowly, and mix it in. And you don't want any big globs of cheese getting in there in one section. So by doing it in these steps, what you're doing is you are evenly distributing your cheese, butter, and heavy whipping cream. My stove is on low, and pick it up from the bottom of that pan. Oh, this looks good already. I'm about ready for it. Oh no, not yet. We have to add our chopped basil to it. There's our 1 cup of that. This is a trick I have devised. Mozzarella cheese is about 1/4 as expensive as Parmesan cheese. And so when I'm feeding a family, I will use this trick and I will throw in the beautiful fresh basil. And if you taste it, it tastes a bit acidic, as if it's Parmesan cheese. Parmesan cheese is just darn expensive, and on a budget, this is fantastic for a family because it tastes like Parmesan cheese. And it's like my mock Alfredo sauce. Now that is looking delish. Okay, now add a little bit of pepper, but not much because I am not a spice girl. And stir that in too. I'm prepared to get a ticket because I'm gonna add more butter to this recipe for the topping. So I'm going to melt the butter for 45 seconds in my microwave. So pour your butter in a bowl. And to that, we add 2 cups of plain breadcrumbs. Or a little more, as the case may be. And stir that around. This is going to look like sand. And this is going to give your mac and cheese the most delicious, incredible crunch, crunch, crunch. So you have the creamy underneath it with the soft pasta and all that cheese, and then you have a crunchy, crunchy topping. And now pour your pasta concoction into some big bowl. I think you could feed 20 people with this recipe. Spread that around. I want some right now. That looks so good. Wow. And now put your breadcrumb crumble all over that. And then even it out all the way down to the sides. And a little on the counter for a little mousey that might come for a visit when you're not looking. Now this is where the optional comes in. If you're inclined, you can put some Parmesan cheese on top of that for some extra salty crunch. This is so not necessary though. But for demonstration purposes, I'm going to put some on and add just about 4 tablespoons to the top, if you want to. It's going into a 425-degree oven for 35 minutes. And then it's all going to be done and crispy and crunchy. Thank you, Gourmet Today, for sponsoring this video. I want to point out that the Herbalizer comes in a really great box for Christmas presents, too. The Herbalizer is in premium anti-leak glass. And that plastic piece inside that has that little ladder is BPA free, so it's really healthy. It's ready. Oh, yum. It smells great too. This is a great winter night dinner. Wow, look at that. That is so creamy. And it looks so crunchy too. This will serve a family the size of an army, or an army. Hi, Meow Meow. The cat apparently wants to join us for a little bit of the mac and cheese. This is not catnip, this is basil. Meow Meow, a little bit for you. Maybe Meow Meow likes a dish. Oh yeah, Meow Meow does. And a little bit on top, just to green it up. That's pretty. Time to try it. Wow. Subscribe to my channel and let's keep making great things, like herb-crusted mac and cheese. That's inexpensive for your family or for your army.